How does the black cult crow's nest work? I am glad to welcome you to my channel. If this is your first time here, then postpone watching this video, and watch the very first video on this channel. This video is called, What is this channel about? The occultists themselves call their black cult the crow's nest. In the nest, a hierarchical ladder operates. Naturally, it can only be stepped on by invitation. And only people with a certain potential are invited there. Namely, those that can interact with energy flows, and most importantly generate them. If a person has potential, and this person has given his consent, then there is no turning back. You can only fall out of the nest by crashing to death. But there were also exceptions. Although in the entire history of the world, there have been very few such exceptions. And the author of these lines is one of such exceptions. There were exceptional reasons for this. And I'm still thinking about whether to disclose these reasons or not. After the invitation, a person gets on, let's call them preparatory courses. A mentor works with the beginner, explaining and preparing the beginner. Then, when the preparation is completed, and the new little crow has passed everything that he needs to go through, he goes through the rite of passage, and they enter a brotherhood or sisterhood, with 15 more of the same newcomers. And now in the rituals, they must take part only together. And in general, to keep as much as possible, too, only together, both at work and on vacation. Maybe even some of you have met such friendly companies. Since all adepts live among ordinary people, except for some cult caste, which is exclusively occupied with the internal affairs of the nest. In the nest, all adepts should strive for progress in everything. And the more and faster their progress goes, the faster they will move up the stairs. Although there is a separate caste called succubi and incubi. These are special people with special innate abilities. They not only gush with energy themselves, but they can also drink energy from ordinary people and bring it to the nest. Succubus and incubus are always dedicated individually and have no rank. After reaching the 5th rank, you can become a mentor. The mentor's duties include training new adepts. At the 7th stage, you can see many curators. These are people who transfer and introduce new technologies into the lives of ordinary people. These are necessarily media faces, but rather the 2nd or even the 3rd echelon of the media. They have extensive connections among the elite circles, but they are strictly forbidden to influence any processes that take place there. Curators are not necessarily inventors or scientists. As a rule, there are very few of them. They can be singers, artists, politicians, TV presenters, or even comedians. Their task is to build bridges between the nest and the world of the so-called elite. And already through these bridges, progress and new technologies will go into our world. The 9th step for the pontiff. They prepare and conduct all the ceremonies, as well as finance the nest. These are exactly those adepts who very rarely visit society, and live exclusively in temples in which all the rituals of the nest are held. Very rarely, pontiffs move to a higher level, from which a special world, the world of progressors, begins. Entering the 10th step is the dream of every adept. But as a rule, if an adept is initiated into a pontiff, then he remains in this hypostasis forever. Although there were cases that it was the pontiffs who left this reality. Having crossed the 10th step, we find ourselves in the world of progressors. These are the very adepts who drive progress forward. They can directly work with the energy accumulated in the nest. It is the progressors who have the right to completely dispose of the energy accumulated in the nest. If before that, only the pontiff could raise you in rank, that progressors can raise themselves in rank from the 10th to the final 15th. Of course you ask, why such difficulties? Why do we need these hierarchies and everything else? In fact, the nests need to be balanced. All black nests 15 pieces, and each nest is responsible for its own region in the world. Before introducing the next progressive technology, the nests perform social modeling. They create favorable conditions for the functioning of these models, then collect the obtained data and analyze them. Drawing a conclusion from the analysis obtained, the nest decides what technology needs to be introduced at this stage of human social development. A new technology is not introduced at all, but the model is revised and the experiment is carried out anew. Yes, you will be surprised. But the entire social basis, the direction of financial flows, the placement of politicians and managers in their places, and much more. All this is done by the nests in order to get the reaction of certain social groups to the ongoing processes. already accumulated in all the nests of technologies of such a level that the technological singularity is literally the next step. But all these technologies must be properly implemented so that humanity at the next stage of implementation, or through a stage, does not destroy itself ahead of time. And when all technologies are introduced, and the desired singularity is achieved, then the energy of all people will be at their peak. Most people have brain activity, and as a result, the whole body will be at its peak. In each such person, gigantic energy flows will circulate, which the adepts can use for their own benefit, and the whole cult, thanks to these incredible flows, will move to the level of the great architect of all realities. You can support the channel with a crit. A wallet for cryptocurrency is in the description.